Okay, there we go. Sorry for the slightly late start, everybody. Alright. Have anywhere I can just tuck these for now? I might use one of these over here, but I'm not sure yet. It's picking up a little bit of a... There we go. Alright, so today I want to start trying to figure out some of the layout in this area, since the garrison is not complete, but it's close enough that I can kind of not focus as much on it, and I want to focus into this area more. So eventually this area over here where the tanneries are going to be will need to be addressed, and over here as well. But today I kind of want to think about how this area is going to be. So Goblin has done some concepts. So this is kind of like an overhang that could be in the market area, and this is kind of the entrance. So I kind of want to play around with this entrance. If he hops in here, I have some questions for him. He just posted this morning. So this, my eye could read this as the the exterior wall, and then this is an interior portion, which means this is very thin. Or this could be it, but then how does this stuff work? So I think this is kind of like an interior wall, and then this is like the exterior wall. So I'll have to play around with how that can work in terms of 3 dimensions. So I'm trying to think. So if we're walking in, and then that's the road to the garrison. I don't know. See, having this road cut across, like we were talking about before, may end up needing to change, because it really breaks the amount of space, like the workable space here. Since this has to kind of cut right down it, so I may end up changing that. So, kind of the idea, I guess, would be if the players are coming in here, and I need the road slanted a little bit, that needs to be fixed. Excuse me. My allergies are awful. It was like snowing Cottonwood earlier. So I will be wheezing and coughing and sounding awful, so I apologize in advance. Maybe I think was where this potentially go. I guess it could go here facing that direction, or it could potentially, again, if I'm changing this road, there could be more of a road kind of coming this way, and then this kind of makes a angle. And then maybe it's here. So we're just gonna be mostly. I have a feeling I'll just be using primitive shapes today because it's gonna be a lot of just kind of playing with space. So do something like this. Um, Maybe we could come over here. So then you have this road that turns into the temples. And then there's probably going to be a little bit more going on in this area, and then this building needs to get built as well. And I'm not 100% locked in on these or where this is the direction and the orientation the temples are going to be. They're super placeholder and just thrown in there for now. But let's kind of work on this, like, basically city planning. So the road could essentially be more that. Gave me the actual rotational values when I'm doing that. It would make my life so much easier. And again, this is all just really rough lockout, so the geo is going to be like not look good looking right now. So for anybody who's new, just kind of disclaimer on what you are seeing as I kind of work out how we want this district over here to go. And like when I was doing the garrison, for everybody who's been watching recently, a lot of the basic walls had already been blocked out. This area really hasn't been blocked out. We kind of laid in like the generic roads, and they're still super, straight in most parts and not necessarily well thought out. But I'm trying to figure out how I want this area to kind of go into our market. And this is kind of what the market entrance, what our concept is for it so far. So, kind of maybe block this in a bit. Actually, let's make a block of it right now, so we have an idea of what the size could be, and that'll also help affect the or some of these decisions. Oh, allergies are the worst. And I'll use... Maybe I won't. Hold on. I did that on something that was not laying flat. How was everybody's holiday weekend? Or at least everybody who was in America. How was your Memorial Day weekend? For anybody who just joined, again, Goblin sent these over this morning. Some concepts for structures that we're going to have, that we might use. This is the entrance, again, to the marketplace. I'm just kind of still in the process of analyzing how this could work in terms of form. So it'll take a little bit of playing around with, especially with these extra kind of stall bits and stuff. My mind is reading those as having depth. So essentially this trim is the outer wall, and then this is a inner wall that's further back, and then that there's depth between here and here. It's not flat. But I'll have to play around with that, because that does get really thin. And if this is a stall, that's a person. So the scale of this is not too big. I think it's similar to our other gates, probably, in height. MCP Live, we pulled over a dozen dead rats out of my dining room wall, mostly babies, so above average. Yeah, that sounds fun. I actually had pet rats back in the day. For the most part, they were actually pretty chill, but live ones that are wild, not so much. But actually, I do have a funny story about rats. I was over at one of my friend's house, or parents' house. It's got had to have been 6 or 7 years ago, and we were having drinks with his parents, and having a fire in their backyard, and so I was talking to his dad, and I wasn't like drunk, but I had a nice buzz going, and I was grabbing some logs for the fire, and I'm sitting there like looking at him, grabbing logs from this pile, and I grabbed a fuzzy log and lifted it up, and it was just this big old rat who was just as confused as I was. And we're both like, and then I threw it. Well, I didn't throw it, I just kind of dropped him and he scurried off. My friend's mother was not too appreciative of me not, like, squishing him. I like pet rats. I'm less enthusiastic about them dying in my walls. Yeah, that isn't fun. And it doesn't smell good. I haven't had dead rats in walls, but one of the first cars I had back in high school, I ended up having baby birds. I parked underneath this spot in our outside of I think it was the laundry room for our apartment building, and birds were flying into and making nests in some of the ductwork for the dryers, and a baby bird was either pushed out of the nest or fell out of the nest, and it fell into the one of the air intakes, like in front of the windshield, and I didn't know it, and it like rolled into the engine compartment, and then the car like reeked of like rotting death. It was awesome. and by awesome I mean it was not awesome, for a couple weeks. Then it stopped, and then I went to like change my oil or something like that, opened it up, and I was like, oh, mummified baby bird. That's why that smelled awful. So a nice, you know, uplifting story to start the day. Alright, so let's get this going. Again, this is something that will probably get built in Maya. Specifically because we're using, like, it's using this trim. That's just going to be way easier to do in Maya. But I can initially get a good block out of what the scale could end up being here. So set this as the pivot. And we will duplicate it. And we will mirror it. Duplicate it. And mirror it. There we go. Okay, so let's and again, the train, once I have this blocked out, the train and stuff will get changed and deformed to fit with it more. This is going to be a super kind of rough block out kind of day. And if this is the way I think if I'm reading the illustration correct, it's going to be something similar to this. And so there's going to be space, and then there's going to be a smaller archway to go through. Now the question will be, is this open air at the top, or, you know, actually it could be open air at the top. There are windows. But those could just be windows to catch a breeze, essentially. They don't actually have to be functional rooms. I might leave them just as more windows. And that really got messed up. What is going on there? Huh. Not sure why it did not like those UV. What is... Oh, you know, it's probably because of the merging it. Did not like that, apparently. Let's delete that. There we go. How are you guys doing? Version control with Unity scenes, using Unity collab thing. Right now we're just using GitHub for it, and then we are just making sure that we're not no one's editing files that someone's working in. The rare case that it does happen, so far it's not been too bad. You can just copy and paste and kind of manually clean it up. But it's only happened a couple times where we've had major issues, or not major issues, but conflicts that were too big to merge. So right now I'm just trying to look at the proportion of this. Again, it's not gonna be perfect, and I'm just doing a general rough in, but the closer I can get this to look like what I'm going for, the better I can, like, the better decisions I can make. So do that. Select those. And I'm just going to put this on the other window. I apologize that you guys aren't going to be able to see it. Did you say those were goblins concepts or hams? Those ones are goblins. Those were ones... I'm not sure if Goblin did it on his stream last night or not, because I think he did a stream last night. Or am I making that up? No, he did not. It was the night before that he did the stream. So I don't know if he'd done that on stream. Okay, so something... Oops, that's not what I want to do. It'll be close enough. There we go. Yeah, his last stream was Dwarf Cleric. I haven't had a chance to watch that one, but I did see that post. I had my kids had doctor's appointments this morning, and then I had a meeting right after, so I hadn't had a ton of time to get caught up on all the stuff in Slack this morning as I would have liked. And then I watched the new Kenobi episode, so I guess I had the time, but I watched Kenobi instead. So my bad. Hate us live? Yep. You made it. Alright, so something similar to that. The idea if that is open is kind of cool. But if we are playing with this, and I can actually just, I guess, scale this even though I'm snapping it. If that has depth, it only looks like a couple stalls, so it's not going to be too large of a space. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Big, but we'll go for it. We'll go with it. Something similar to that. And again, for anybody who's joined a little later, this mesh will more than likely just be representational for now. Because of the design, of it, I will more than likely just completely rebuild this in Maya. So I'll get a more subtle curve. I'll also be able to do both edge loops to follow this, so that I can just use this trim. So this will be put into a trim sheet, this kind of design, so that we can just kind of use it as a trim, and then it'll probably, you know, have these edges as well. So that will all be eventually replaced with real meshes, but for now, and I'm kind of also right now just eyeballing it. I don't have the image plane in here, so the scale might be slightly off, but I'm just, again, being very representational today. Is it not? Oh, I must have been hitting the wrong hotkey. Let's also lock this terrain, because I'm not using it right now. The train's so big that if I, like, double click on it by accident as I'm trying to click on something, it will crash. So it's one of those rather safe than sorry moments. Just something like that. Now I'm feeling... Grab another. Warhide. So I'm feeling like this. Set that pivot to a better location. Slightly higher than that. And this might not even be a wall all the way around. But I feel like this could be a cool area just to kind of wall in a little bit. And potentially having buildings be part of the wall eventually. And then maybe some kind of like side gate over here. And then I'm also thinking, let's just duplicate this for now. Oh, that scared me. Nick, with month number 5. Thanks for the subscription, Nick. How are you doing? Join late. So today I'm not directly building anything. I am playing around with how this area may end up being laid out. So this is going to be very rough today. Nothing like super refined. And just kind of playing around with where stuff could go. So this area is kind of like one of our, I'm thinking for the marketplace. I may end up moving this stuff. I'm just kind of playing around with it. I'm really thinking about getting rid of this road. So if I get rid of this road, what it's going to allow me to do is move this wall that I just made to be something more like more like this. And again, these can all be buildings in here, and market spaces. And then there can be other, ins and outs into the market, whether they're, like an actual, like, smaller guarded gate, or, like, maybe putting a secret hole, like, in the wall or something like that, or maybe, maybe, like, over here there's, like, a secret tunnel in the ground that, you could take in as, like, a smuggler's route type of a thing. Same thing over here, like, maybe there's some way up into it. I already know I want to have some of this type of space where we have, drawing from Goblin's kind of original concepts, where we have the streets, and then the, where's the other image? The ruins below that I was kind of playing around with back in, like, December. So kind of bringing some of those assets and that experiment into this area, underneath, and throughout here, and then maybe even potentially, some paths and stuff that kind of cross over this, or under this road, similar to here, and then, I can do another kind of, like, bridge, essentially, for that. Good. Glad you're doing well, Nick. And yeah, I agree that episode today was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Without giving spoilers away, I'm looking forward, to potential potential things happening, that I've been looking forward to seeing for a long time in Star Wars. Tenets. Hey, Hells Rich, how you doing? Again, this right here is just kind of representation of where a road could be that will be deleted. I know it looks like garbage right now. For anybody who's just popping in, today's a blockout day, so expect a lot of just really weird shapes as I try to wrap my mind around the space. This might even work better if I... Oops. The wrong direction. Move it back a bit. And then there could be buildings here that are not maybe part of that. Watching the rain on your lunch break? Oh, man, I love watching rain. That's like one of my favorite things to do to relax. I think I might have mentioned it before on stream a long time ago, but I had a apartment in college that had an awesome balcony. It was essentially like an outdoor room, except it only had one wall, and that was like against the house. And then 3 open spots, but it was all overhung and was carpeted. And it had a slight gradient so that if there was any water on it, it would drain. But oh man, it was awesome. I would just sit out there and watch the rain. Also had a pretty cool view of the Garfield Memorial, like, because it was like way up on a hill, kind of looming over it. It was off in the distance, so looming, I guess, is probably painting a much larger image of it in your head than it actually was. But it was still pretty cool. But yeah, I'd chill out there. I actually slept out there several times. It was awesome. So here's the question. I can't make this wall straight. I'm aware of that. Maybe something more like this. And then part of the reason why I haven't done too much with the interior here is because I have been debating maybe running I've been debating this wall in my head, and potentially running, similar to this wall. So, maybe this can walk over to here, that type of thing. I don't know if I want to carry that all the way along the wall, if I even do that. But we'll see. So this, I'm almost guaranteed that I want to do. So let me save this, and we're going to unlock the terrain. And I'm just going to kind of start playing with the terrain a bit, just to make sure, or just to kind of get it right for what I want to do with this. So let's end these. Oops. Come on. Oh, I still have the... Let's... when you use snapping, if the water's still on, it will snap to the water plane, like, all the time. It's super annoying. This one... And then that would make this area What level is everybody on the TLPs who decided to bite the bullet and hop back in for a little bit? I think the double XP weekend is still going on right now. I was able to get to level 40 on Vanicki, however you want to pronounce it. On my Ranger. Over the weekend. And then got to partake in the server first kill of Avatar of War at level 40, which was interesting. I would say that I have never died that much on an encounter, but it would be a lie. Or actually, it might not. I did die a lot. Zerg rushing Farm on Agnar. But the only reason we did that on Agnar, it wasn't because he wasn't beatable or we weren't capable. We wiped, and we were in a race for the server's second kill. And the other guild that was... We were literally like neck and neck with them. And they started death zerging him, so we started death zerging, and we got the kill for second, which was first. We beat them for the second kill. I probably should use words correctly so that things mean what they actually mean. While you're a ranger, dying many times is a class feature. Yep, especially early on. But I didn't die as much as some people died. There was some dude who had like 250 some corpses by the end of the 4 kills or 5 kills that we did. We did obviously Statue Idol, Avatar War, Vindy, and KT. So, but the only reason we were able to do those at that level was because you can bind in Kale. So basically it was just bind, die, hit the res button, and then spawn. We were fighting him on our bind spot, so it was ridiculousness. Yes, it does. And a lot of people bought that specifically so they went D-level. Which I D-level. Because there were way too many corpses to res back in. But, like, the next morning I re-dinged 40, like, pretty quickly. I didn't have proc Augs in my weapons yet, so I was not constantly getting aggro. Currently only 15 on Yellowneck. But my first time ever playing. Oh, awesome. It's always cool to see people checking out EQ for the first time. Game holds a dear spot in my heart for sure. And it's definitely I mean, it straight up is one of the reasons why I was interested in game design. The two things that I always credit for my interest in game and movie like design and getting involved in game and movie production were Star Wars and EverQuest. It's gonna be super steep. This coastline's probably gonna need to move south some. I just picture the cleric epics running so hot they turned a molten red. Well, at that point, I don't think anybody in the guild had them. I think there's a couple people that have them now. But yeah, it was just crazy death insanity, for the most part. And it was basically people just ate deaths. Like they were even like at the beginning of the raid, they're like, if you don't have the perk, be prepared to lose your level. Because you're gonna be dying a lot. But that's kind of the server, I guess. When you're trying to beat stuff that's super under the level. Why are you snapping all the way over there? Oh, that would be why. No? There we go. In Hell's Ridge, how are you liking EQ so far? Up to 15? Are there any M&M developers that aren't EQ fans? Yeah, Hamad isn't, and Goblin, I think, said he's only played a little bit, but wasn't a fan of the older aesthetics and animations and stuff. Or not the aesthetics. I think it was specifically the animations that he was saying he wasn't a fan of, and he just couldn't get past it. So, but all of the design concepts he likes behind it. He likes the slower pace and all that. But I mean, TLPs and the phrase slow pace do not really go together. He levels so fast. Which is okay, I mean, because you don't have to invest as much to see everything, but then it comes with the, if you aren't able to keep the pace with the server, you're left in the dust like super quickly. Which I eventually will more than likely get left in the dust on the server. I was actually able to join Sean's group. Oh yeah, weren't you? I was listening to that while I was playing a little bit myself. Howard, you're playing a enchanter, right? And you're loving it? Great. It's awesome. It's a fun game. It really is. It's also one of the games that taught me that you don't necessarily have to have amazing graphics to have amazing gameplay. Good graphics are great. But you can still have a great game and have not so great graphics. Or dated graphics. Or in EverQuest's case, non-consistent graphics throughout all your zones. And expansions. Like that. And this path probably doesn't... Let's hop in. I also kind of want to run around in here and get some scale reference. It's been a bit since I've ran down this path. That path probably doesn't need to be as large as it is. Hey, Ishwatari. Oh my god, I can't speak. How are you doing today? If it was the Lupin animations, you would be right. Yeah, I didn't ask whether he was talking about the Lupin ones or not. I'm assuming probably because they're the default ones. But I don't know if he was playing on P99 or if he was playing on a TLP or just like a live server. Slash zone. Whoa, caps lock. Definitely be filling in an an MMO void I've had since I quit WoW. Nice. Maybe he was playing with the Lupin models. Yeah, probably. Although I remember at one point they put in additional animations to the Lupin models, and I remember being like, "What happened?" Because I remember the half elf. I think it was only in for a day or two. I remember the half elves was really goofy because like when you were running with the weapons, they were like straight out in front of you, and they didn't like move, and it just looked it looked really funky. I got used to the Lupin animations though. Definitely more hyped for Eminem now. Awesome. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Durga. I'm very hyped for this game as well. It'll be awesome once we are complete. This is probably steeper than it should be, so I need to remember to fix that. And I think this doesn't need to be as wide as it is, so we'll probably push this over and then move this wall towards the west some, which will give us more gameplay space for the market area. Let's run up. Here. So there is a decent amount of space up here already, which is nice. But the larger buildings are going to eat this space up really, really quickly. Okay, so if these are going to have stalls in it, this needs to be deeper, because that's not enough space. So I'm going to have to make... If we want those to be stalls... Where'd my image go? We want these to have stalls kind of sitting in there. Definitely gonna have to widen it because there's no room to put them there. Okay, so the length isn't bad to have a couple small stalls. And then I'm assuming, so what I'm thinking is this will probably be the main stretch of shops would run down towards here. And then, you know, maybe some, like I said, maybe like a gate over here. Maybe some buildings and stuff that are kind of overhanging this cliff, and then maybe steepening the cliff a little bit in spaces. And then obviously, like I said, having some cut throughs and stuff. That will be done after I lock in where all the buildings and stuff are going to be. Because if I start building around it, I think it'll be easier just to take the boxes essentially, to play around with size and scale and where everything's going to go, and then start to build them out. And then I don't know if I want this area to have walls and maybe even be kind of built off of the fortification from the garrison, or if I want these to be more buildings. That are kind of just looking over the dock area over here. So this area is going to have like warehouses and stuff like that. And probably over here too. I say that now because I'm like, oh man, there's so much space here, but the second I start dragging stuff in, it's going to eat up space so quickly. I have a feeling. So, expect to see a lot of floating and stuff at this point. I'm really not going to do too much terrain, like snapping of terrain verts to this section of it, because it's going to be changing. And I will just be adjusting it every 2 seconds and wasting time. So as completed models come in, as the layout gets more solidified, that's when that kind of stuff will get updated. And you're gonna see some weird deforming faces just because it's not triangulated yet. That will eventually all get triangulated as well. This is the one downside to me having to have triangulated early, is some of this stuff is not as easily selected anymore. Here's the question, do I even want to bring in that other edge loop? I don't think it's needed. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna need it. There. And we'll just snap this edge, and then I can... I'm gonna have to go in and manually select this stuff, because I've noticed, again, we're using Pro Builder in a way that helps us with the aesthetic, but I do not believe was actually ever intended to be used in the way that we're using. So the mesh is fairly dense in terms of how many triangles it has. And I think I've reached a threshold where ProBuilder no longer likes me highlighting selections. I kind of have to manually click on faces. Otherwise, I will start looking around. Here, I can probably just highlight this. Some of you who have been around and watching my streams for a while now probably noticed where I'm like, why is there a hole over here? And it's usually because I'll highlight something like this, and then you make a liar out of me now, Unity? Apparently it is. But like random faces like over here will get selected. Like all these. Of course you're not going to do it right now. Second I'm off stream, I'll do that, and then it'll do it. Damn it. Yeah, we'll keep the big triangle. What is this shadow coming? Oh, I know what it's coming from. It's because I don't have this lined up. I'm like, why do I have this weird seam sitting there? And it's because I have this giant hole. The sun's leaking through the other side. So these. Oops. And yes, I'm still listening. This song's super nostalgic for Vanguard for me too, because I spent a ton of time in that city. Although, could I tell you what the name of the city is? Nope. I forget the name of all the cities in Vanguard. Faces. Visually, it looks good. All right. Just looked out my window and there's like, it looks like it's like lightly snowing outside. There's so much cottonwood fibers floating around. Fibers, seeds, whatever you want to call them. It's 10. Play with this real quick. So we know this. It's going to need to be more like that. Should in theory give enough space for that. So again, anybody who's wasn't here originally, this is a rough-in. It's not the actual model. Just kind of getting the shape and kind of playing with this as like the entranceway into the market area. And then have stuff like this on the sides of buildings for markets. Market stalls. We'll probably end up playing around with the market a bit to make it feel more organic, would be my guess. So we don't want it. I think that's one where we really don't want it to feel formulaic. We want it to feel kind of like it naturally came together. So right now, I'm just going to play around with how does this feel in terms of like a layout. These buildings are, right now, I'm not necessarily thinking too much. This is being stupid. But I'm not thinking too much about what each of these buildings are. I'm being more representational of this space, and then I can change up what these are. 2, 3, 4, 5. Has anyone ever commented on the UV map? Or your real life beanie hats? Yes, yes. It's my textureless hat. I've got no texture on my head. I don't know where it is. I have one of those like green screen suits that has a checker pattern on it too, and I can put this over it, the top of it, so I can just walk around without texture on. Because I'm a 3D art dork like that. Alright, so let's... Why is this so off? Oh, you know what part of my problem is? It's not... My pivot point isn't actually matching up with the geo. I'm like, why is this not moving like I'm expecting it to? So it's over ones because they're going to be messed up too. Nice. Thanks. Yeah, I saw this years ago. Maybe Target or something, and I was like, oh, please fit my gigantic head, and it did. Because unfortunately, as much as I love beanies, skull caps are harder for me to find because I have a gigantic head. And one size fits most does not include my noggin. A decent percentage of the time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That way I can have stalls and stuff off of it. Let me make sure none of these are directed at me. Oop. What's it doing? And of course the image I'm looking for is the one I closed. Go figure. There you go. So, trying to get more of this feel. Some of these might have, you know, similar to how I had stairs and stuff going up to them in, when I was working back in the Shaded Dunes zone, before we broke Night Harbor into its own zone. Why is there... Oh. Okay. That's going to cause a weird triangle of light. Which again, I could cap this off on the final mesh as well. And there will be more of those kind of parapets kind of sticking up the turrets. I'm blanking on the technical terminology for those. Okay. Better. Question, do we want it to go straight down, or do we want it to have some kind of... See, it's starting to feel congested, but... So let me bring up... I got a document with all sorts of reference from real bazaars and paintings and stuff like that. It's this one. Just want to take a second to open up this file. It's gigantic at this point. Alright. So, there's some things we definitely like about these images. One's the color and stuff. This has already been kind of used in some of this stuff. Which I might bring some of those buildings in here as well. But, you know, like a lot of the color, some of these stalls. Although, the hard part about this will be pulling it off without over-modeling everything. I know that's something we're trying to keep in mind. Something like this. I think I'm getting too narrow on the path. Something more open without it being like too open. Let's give me a bit of balance. And this is why I'm doing this with simple primitive shapes as opposed to I'm going to build this whole building out right now like I have been with some of this other stuff. Because it's going to need a good good sense of like space and flow. What program is that for putting all those images together? This is PureRef. It's an awesome program. It's free. I believe if you want to, you can donate when you download it. But I mean, I can just drag any image in here. Like here, I was dragging one of our concepts, and then you can scale it up and rotate it and do all sorts of stuff. But yeah, you can just drag stuff right out of Google, like web browsing. So super, super convenient. And then you can, there's other modes too. I don't want to go to them because I always forget how to get out of them. Control T. We'll just do that one. Control T. Oh no, that's not what I want. That was transparent to mouse. That's it. Overlay. There we go. But yeah, you can overlay it so as you're working, you can see it on top of everything. Although it's, I forget how to get it where you can have it where it locks on top of everything. So you can just have an image sitting over there if you wanted to. I forget how to do that though. And I just did what I didn't want to do, didn't I? Yeah, PureRef. Exactly. Just like that. Although I believe it's one word. So it's no space between the E and the R. But I believe the R is capitalized. Yeah, it is. It's pretty simple to get into as well. There's a couple, like I said, other modes and stuff that I always forget the hotkeys for. But it's definitely a useful program for sure. Let's go to buildings and see if any of these potentially might still be useful. But you can see once you start bringing in larger buildings, how much space it eats up real quick. What's this? Oh, this is the one that was based off of the building Sean had. It eats up so much space. This is something more over here. These might not even make the cut, but I want to see how they feel in here. Or I could do something similar to these, and I scaled these down. You know what? Actually, let's do that. Because these were modeled off of the old Geo, which was way too large. This might even be too large for those ones. If that's the case, I'm just gonna actually go in here and model scale. Which is going to make me have to go back and make these 1 again, but I no longer have to do that if I bring these into other scenes. Okay. Alright. So, that. Some of these buildings are going to need to be deeper. So... Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have this document over on the other side. I apologize so you guys can't see it too. But I want to look around at some of these. So maybe this ends up being these taller buildings. Maybe we do something more. This would be more like a stairwell. Again, I'm being super, super representative right now. I'm not modeling this. I'm just trying to get ideas out quick so I can see what they look like. And then I can come in and model these individually to make them more or less, you know, fit what we're looking at in terms of the fidelity of our models. Let's actually select what I'm trying to select. That way you can walk in, you can have stalls here, you can kind of see that this wall this right up against it. Oh, it's one of the ones that I did not fix the pivot on. I want that more like that. Overlap. Something like that. But this wall, essentially, I can use as you walk in. From a level design point of view, when you walk in, if I have this more of a solid spot, it'll make you look more, it'll draw the player's eye this way. So you can see more down this street, or potentially turn over here and get some market stands here, bring you into this area as well. It's not 45 degrees. It's more like a 33, 30. $25 for the win. Okay, there we go. Something like that is not gonna work. Hold on, I need to make this normal. And we will there. Oops, what am I doing? Clicking on the wrong button. So this could end up, this house could end, or this building could end up having a cool like balcony or something on top of it. Maybe this is not a... Five? 6. So that one ends up being something more like that. And this could... Again, I'll probably just align a wall. Right now, this is just an extrusion, so I'll probably just make a wall and rotate it so that it fits. And honestly, that this building may just become part of that wall, the back side of that building. See how I want to play off some of these alleyways and stuff like that eventually. These buildings are going to be... helps if that... oh my god. Freaking allergies. Oh, sorry. Smaller... Oops. Smaller buildings. These are probably actually... there. That gives space for either stalls coming off of this or potentially like other buildings or just areas that are kind of popped out a little bit more on the back sides of these. Honestly, I feel like other buildings to get some of that kind of split level sprawl feel will probably be the direction that I'll go. This part's going to take a little bit to play with. It's similar to how this is going to end up being built out when we get to the bends. Except the bends is got that elevation, so we can play with like balconies and like going under houses with stilts and stuff like that. But something like this is going to take a little bit more time to play with. I don't know if all these are going to... Some of these are rather large. feel like these areas right here will work pretty good as the market, and then this is, I'm just probably going to do more sprawlish type stuff in, I think. Maybe some back alley type things. And I don't know if we'll need to bring market stuff over to there. Still might. We'll see. You know, a lot of this is kind of trial and error for how we want to handle this. It may end up lowering this. And this may end up getting moved. Like, I might end up extruding that out, so that's more of a cliffside. So that's looking better. It's looking decent. Let's get some more buildings kind of roughed in here. And again, super just kind of playing around with it right now. You can almost think of this as a 3D sketch. For anybody who's not, you know, who's new to the channel and the project. I don't have a specific like sketched out map. We have maps, but we don't have like a detailed, like, this building goes here, this building goes here for this specific spot. It's just kind of like designated, like, this is the area we want this. I'm wondering, actually, now that I'm... Can I fit? Yes. I don't know why I didn't just go into my hierarchy and grab it this way. Goodness. If you're new to level design, you don't want to create stuff like that. So yeah, good spot to get your players stuck. Again, anybody's popped in recently, I'm not getting too nitpicky with the terrain, so there's going to be weird things like this happening for now until I lock in on, yes, I want this building here. My snapping. Not. That's weird. My snapping isn't actually snapping based on this. Usually when that happens, I just need to restart my computer. So I will not restart in the middle of the stream though. It's the individual selections are snapping the way I want them to. This is gonna, part of the reason this takes so long is because the feeling, the sprawl we want. You have to kind of duck down and look at. I need to fix this eventually. There's a lot of different points of like view to take into account from the different areas. So, you know, how does something look from this angle? Versus how does it look at this angle? Are we getting that, you know, nice stepped look? And in some places, it's starting to get there. So, like, I think over here's a good example where you're starting to feel all these rooftops at different heights and stuff like that, which is what we're really going for. Anybody watching new to the project and not sure what we're working on? Or have any questions? More than willing to answer any questions. Or point you to the person on the team who could answer your questions, because I can't answer all the questions. There's some parts that you don't want me answering, because I just don't know. It's either I don't know or it's not my expertise type of a situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On. Two, three. There. 6, 7, 8. Let's stay down 8. So that. Again, super placeholdery right now. Keep reminding everybody, just because I know if I don't, everyone's gonna be like, why are you doing it like that? It's gonna quickly just to kind of play around with shapes and stuff like that. And makes it a nice quick way to learn stuff. Like I'm just learning. I don't know if I like this shape, or at least I don't like it in this particular use case, like this angle, because really it's not doing much for this building. Balcony idea, but probably play around more with that. I think this one's working, although this one's actually going to need to be up there. But, so then we walk in. This is going to be some. I can't remember what this is. I have to go back and look at the map. Walk in. biggest problem that I'm seeing is there's nothing here. Like as you walk in, there's nothing here that goes, "Oh, this is where the marketplace is going to be," because I'm now blocking it. I'm blocking the point of interest with buildings. So, so this either needs not to have buildings in front of that, like I was leaving that little space for buildings, or that needs to be grander. Or this needs to be moved over here. Grander, go bigger, go home. That I'm debating that. I think that might be it. It's kind of one of those things like, you play into you play up the keyframe and an animation pose just to kind of really sell that motion, or play up the scale to draw attention to it. So like, oops, let's center that. Oh no, that is centered. Why is that? Oh, you know what? It's not scaling right because I am using. So this is going to be doubled in size. Which is too big in some dimensions, but height-wise, honestly, that could be cool with that gem. Kind of catching some of the light up here. Hmm. Having major points of interest view visible in the greater city skyline above walls would help work really well. I was joking before, but maybe bigger is the right choice. Yeah, no, joking or not, um, bigger might be the way to do it. The question still is the location. Um, Maybe that isn't the best spot to play with the so this is just with the width. So it kills this cool building unless I move it. I don't know if I don't think I like this guild hall here. Guild hall takes up so much space. It may play around with the scale of the guild hall slightly. I like the interior, but I don't know. How much? Space is in here. So that's pretty large. The problem is if I just scale it, I'm going to screw up the stairs and some other stuff. So that's not too bad. It still is a little large. This hallway should be... Oops. So yeah, that works. I may end up having to redo the interior stairs and the... Oh, this isn't the fixed version. Never mind. But I have the scale better. I can just scale it in Maya with these parts and then apply the fixes as needed. The doorway is also going to cause issues. Smaller. So, like, this part would be full scale. And that would be slightly smaller. But with that, I can start tucking them in more and they won't take up as much space. Let's run over there real quick and see. Yo, hey Goblin, how's it going? Yeah, yeah, that guild hall does take up a lot of damn space. I think the scale is off. I don't think I actually sat there and measured it after I did that initial rough-in. But it should be an easy fix. I just have to scale the overall footprint of it down while leaving some of the interior parts at the same scale or close to the same scale so that they don't get too tiny. Because right now when I run in there, the stairs are going to look like gnome stairs. Oops. Did I not do that correctly? Or is this... Hold on. Nope. Oop. Actually, I need to get going, guys. I just realized what time it was. I gotta go down and get my son from the bus. I will talk to you guys later.